This is the Roller and the Stroller podcast. I'm Josiah, the roller, and I was born with cerebral palsy and navigate the world in a wheelchair alongside my best friend Kelly, the stroller.
In this podcast, we discuss living with a disability, adapting to surroundings in a wheelchair, and the challenges we face together. We talk about things like going to concerts, traveling, everyday tasks, and sports.
But also get into deeper topics like religion, self-talk, medical needs, and some of the frustrations of using a wheelchair. We will give insight on how to enjoy life with a disability
and share advice on how to understand someone with a disability.
Welcome to the Roller and the Stroller.
This podcast is a sidewallstudios production. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Roller and the Stroller.
I'm Josiah. I am the resident roller.
And I am Kelly, and I am the stroller. And today we have a very, very, very special guest. He is a relative of Josiah. They live together. He's actually Josiah's nephew. And this is Henry, everybody. Welcome, Henry.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, boy!
Ooh.
Oh, was that loud? Oh.
You're always loud. It's fine.
I got
always
three
fix
varies. I feel very flattered.
Yeah, I fix it in post if you yell, so it's totally fine.
You do.
I do.
It do be like that sometimes.
How many times an episode do you have to fix it in post? That
Oh
Josiah
my
yells?
God, all the time.
Many times.
He's a yeller.
Well, I like Josiah repeats himself a lot, and I love that.
I am a repeater
You
of
are.
myself. Yeah.
You are Peter. Let me level with you. That's my favorite.
Henry, do you want to hit us with a musical reference right off the top?
A musical reference.
We recommend a music artist.
A musical reference. We recommend
I
a
would
music
say
artist.
That's called a recommendation.
We sure
instead of
do.
reference. I thought you were trying to get me to give a musical reference to my character.
No, just hit him with one. Just hit him with one.
Okay, Glitch Mob. Everyone needs to check out Glitch Mob.
Oh.
Especially the album Revisions, which was released in 2021. Front to back, listen to it front to back, no
Told you
shuffle.
he'd come prepared.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely prepared that beforehand.
So Henry is Josiah's nephew. Did you guys grow up together, or when did you guys start hanging out?
We grew up together for sure. We were only 5 years apart because of the strange family dynamics. So,
He's only 5 years younger than me. And I think that Henry was like really a younger brother to me growing up rather than a nephew.
yeah, and that's typically how I introduce you to people as my older brother until it gets confusing to explain how you didn't actually live with me.
Because we don't look alike. So people are like, are you actually family? Henry, we have some questions for you about growing up with me and
Okay.
growing up around somebody with
I
a
would love
disability.
to give you off the cuff answers.
So Henry, what was your earliest memory of us?
It was probably in your mom's house, running around.
Your mom's house.
Your mom's house.
Your mom's house. It feels weird to make that joke given that she's my grandmother, but that's fine.
I love this episode already. This is the best.
I was probably like 6 and we were running around.
Was I running?
Yes, you were running. You were running wild. This was before the accident.
Dang, Josiah. I'm learning things about you, Josiah.
You've never heard him say, I broke my legs?
No, I mean, I have. And he's
Yep.
also told me he's 6
That's
feet
reference
tall.
to a real-
Was he 6 feet tall when he was running?
No.
Oh.
He was 10. Okay,
you
so
lie.
no, I can't remember. We were probably playing some kind of like freeze tag or something. We had a vast advantage over you playing freeze tag in that house. It's a giant house.
I would say so.
3 flights of stairs. Oh, it was hide and seek tag probably, not freeze tag necessarily, but yeah.
But still, you could hide in places I could not.
We had to make rules. You can't go up the stairs. I don't know if that was mainly because we annoyed grandma or if it was because you couldn't go up the stairs or both, but somewhere in there.
Probably both.
I think the former had more to do with it than I gave it credit as a kid.
Yeah, let's be honest here. We annoyed the hell out of grandma.
Oh yeah. I love when she told you to go stay with me and my mom because we were just bothering her too much in her living room.
I'm not surprised that she was super annoyed by you. I'm not
By
surprised.
me
that-
or Henry?
By you. I don't know Henry. I don't know
was gonna
Henry
s-
that well, but I know you very well, and I know how annoying you can be.
I'm
I was going
annoying.
to say, sitting here with us again, do you want us to leave?
Oh my God, yeah. Get
I'm
out
an
of here.
annoying person. Oh no!
Just kidding.
Intruded
Oh, no.
on her home.
Did you expect us to be close?
I don't think I had the cognitive functioning to understand expecting someone to be close at that point in time. I just understood that we were, I guess. I don't know. I don't think I thought about it that much.
Ooh, there's a hot take.
Is there the hot take to think that 5-year-olds don't think about their future to be like, oh, I didn't expect us to be this close.
No, probably not.
It was just, I like the same things you like, which was X-Men and American Dragon, Jake Long.
American Dragon,
my God,
Jake Long.
what a jam.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that theme song, fire.
Yep.
Slaps.
Absolutely. The original, not when they rebooted the animation. Weird.
Yeah,
when they redid the animation.
It's the guy with Zuko's voice.
Well, they didn't change the voice actor. They just changed the animation style on the second season, and it was very odd and jarring. And I remember we hated that.
And it looked weird.
We're getting really off the
We're
rails
getting
here, but
super deep.
And we watched Ninja Turtles. We would spend hours on the
TMNT.
trampoline.
acting out the Ninja Turtles episode.
Tell her what we did on the trampoline.
We jumped.
Josiah, you jumped?
Yep.
Josiah is a very high jumper. He scares people frequently, and he would fall off a lot.
I am not surprised.
Especially because there was a pit in our trampoline. Just intermittently, the springs would fall out, and then we'd just keep jumping on it instead of getting a new one. So we'd have a pit in the trampoline that he could crawl on from the pit. It was like a little ramp, but you had to be careful to jump around the pit. And Josiah's not the most dexterous jumper.
Dude,
He
No,
can jump
I'm not.
high.
Nope.
He can jump very high, but he's not dexterous or controlled.
You would spike me too. That
was a lot of fun. We would play football on the trampoline where we'd have you and another person sitting on the trampoline, and I'd throw the ball. What's it, 500?
Yeah,
it was 500. Yeah.
Oh my God, throw
If
it back.
Josiah won, he actually would crawl down into the field and throw it to us to play 500. It was just...
But I rarely won. I've won like once out of 500 times.
Hey, at least you won.
Yeah.
Good job.
You won on
I
occasion.
think it was a pity win.
It was never a pity win.
Oh, okay.
We were too young to pity you. We didn't understand. Here's the thing. We grew up with you in this situation. We didn't necessarily understand that you needed pity from us.
I feel like if they're spiking you on a trampoline, we don't
really
you.
understand that there's like a difference.
No.
Nah.
Especially when you're like, you mentioned it a lot on the show. He hulks himself out of his wheelchair and crawls around on his knees and arms a lot.
I did when I was younger
And
too.
especially when you were
A whole
younger,
lot,
you've
yeah.
lost a lot of your dexterity.
That's so
But
cute. You were a little baby Hulk.
Yeah, I was.
he was ripped.
And
He was terrifying. It was not until I was probably 14 that I could beat him in like a wrestling match, and we used to wrestle a lot. He was strong for his
Dang.
age.
And then
To be fair, he was 19
you
when I was
found out
14, so.
yeah, you found out that you could use your legs over me and I could not.
But we made that a rule.
Yeah, we did.
Just like in wheelchair basketball.
Yep.
That was the other thing we did a lot of.
Yeah, he had some corrections about wheelchair basketball.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
he forgot to mention on the sports episode that I played basketball with him in a wheelchair every summer for like 6 years.
How did you forget
That's
that?
what I'm wondering.
I
I also
know.
carried him up Garden of the Gods
Josiah.
on my back, and then would set him down and go back down the trail and bring his wheelchair up.
How did you forget that? That is not something easily.
butt face.
Yeah, that's true.
He also just, if we're issuing corrections for previous episodes,
Oh, damn. Called out.
we also went backstage at Warped Tour.
Josiah.
And we got to skip an entire line at a Linkin Park concert at Fiddler's Green.
Damn. I feel like
R.I.P. Linkin
you've
Park.
lied to me this whole time.
No,
Your
I just
entire friendship
am
is a
not
lie.
I wanted to save it all for this episode
You
that we
liar.
were
You
gonna
did
have.
not.
I don't.
Don't lie like that you had
I
some
know, I
master
didn't.
plan.
I'm sorry, Henry.
I have a question though, piggybacking off of this. Did you know he had CP when you guys were young? Did you understand that?
At a certain point, I did. At a certain point, I kind of realized it was a brain thing and not necessarily. It is physiological, but I'm trying to find the word. It wasn't necessarily to do with your legs. It was more to do with the physiological of your brain. And that's not the right way to say that, but you understand what I'm saying. Is I understood that CP was a brain thing later
A brain
on in
thing.
life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
As opposed to like having broken his legs or something to do in the hips region.
Did you show him any mercy because of that, or are you just like sucks to suck?
No,
Bye.
I was too old at that point to change my ways.
Henry would beat me up. Are you kidding? Henry can beat me up now, and it's been that way since like you were.
It was around 14,
13?
yeah, and when I hit, an age to actually be able to commiserate with you physically.
I think
5 years is not that much of a difference now that we're 23 and 28, but being that I was 11 when you were 16, you had a leg up on me hormonally and, in your physical regimen of pulling yourself around the house all the time.
Did any of your family members ever be like, "Hey, take it easy on Josiah" because of?
Oh, no.
No. Okay.
No,
so
we grew up brutal on him. a little bit.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
So much trauma.
So much trauma.
Every time he falls out of his wheelchair, our family would look like psychos because we would start laughing with him because he thinks it's funny as well. Commiserate with me a little bit here. Don't make me sound like a heartless person. But we start laughing and he's laughing with us. And then the rest of the world is like trying to figure out what to do with this.
They're crying.
Yeah, they're freaking out.
I'm crying.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you slapped me out of my wheelchair?
I knew you were going to bring that up.
Oh my gosh. You let this person into my house and he slapped you?
Out of my wheelchair.
Okay, he slapped me first.
I did.
You have to tell me all these details, Josiah.
Okay, he was late. Okay, so I had been parked at the airport for an hour and a half waiting for him, and he just casually rolls out talking to the stewardess that he was rolling with his luggage. And then he says, "Hey, buddy," and he reaches up and he claps me on the ear.
That was an accident.
You slapped me.
I went to do this.
And he did
Press
this.
his cheek, and I went...
Audio listeners,
on
you
his
cannot
ear.
tell what I'm doing. I am not going gentle. He slapped full force with, as I've mentioned, his Hulk arm into my ear. It hurt. I was mad. I was hungry. I had been there for 2 hours. So I smacked him upside the head. He doesn't wear his seatbelt.
No, he does. See, thank you.
It's not
Thank
necessarily
you.
my fault he fell out. It is my fault that I slapped him. But
it
I was
was
provoked.
mutual slapping. It was mutual slapping.
It was mutual
Wait, what did the
slappage.
stewardess do?
She had already gone by then.
Oh, she already eat it out of there?
She was tired of hearing
She's
him
like,
talk.
I'm not trying to get involved in all of this.
Okay.
She was tired of hearing your stories.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm an annoying person.
Yes. Retweet.
How did you describe me to your friends in terms of like, did you describe
This
me
is my
as
uncle
having
in
a
a wheelchair.
disability?
This is my uncle.
Okay.
He is in a wheelchair.
That's all you said? Did they have questions about that?
I don't think so. They more had questions about the various physical differences besides your wheelchair.
Oh, like the Asian part?
Okay, I
Asian
didn't know. I didn't know if he was comfortable with me
The Asian part?
outing him as an Asian.
It's not a bad thing.
I know it's not a bad thing, but as we have said, you're weird about your privacy, so I don't know.
Yeah, you are a little weird about. No, you're not weird. You're just
Careful.
Safe. You're safe.
We'll say careful. Anyway, yeah. So no, it would be my Asian uncle is in a wheelchair, and they had more questions about the Asian uncle part than the wheelchair.
And then you could just explain, listen,
Yeah, for sure.
adoption happens.
The more odd part was also the age difference, because again, we're really close in age.
Yeah, you're only
So-
5 years younger.
Yeah, which is not super odd, but for most of my peers growing up, my parents were super young, and then my uncle being that young was odd.
Did you ever find that weird? Like when your friends would say,
No.
like, that's a little weird.
I don't think things you grow up with seem weird to you at the time. I think my family size is odd in an abnormal sense, but not in like a weird sense where I feel uncomfortable with it, right? So I don't think you tend to feel uncomfortable with the things that you grow up with. You tend to assume that everyone has the same point of reference as you up until you hit a certain age, I think.
What were some of the challenges that we faced together growing up?
One of the first ones was your mom told me not to let you jump off the trampoline so rough as you did, so you wouldn't hurt the knees that you had less feeling in, because you still have to fix them. Mm-hmm. Just because you don't necessarily feel all the pain.
Do I?
Yeah, you used to jump off. It was not soft grass underneath that trampoline. It
was dirt.
Hard dirt with tree roots and rocks. And I think I started to understand more of it as I grew up, that you don't like to sit down in concerts. You try to jump off the rail.
So I'm not the only one that has that problem.
No, I had to hold on to his belt at Lincoln Park.
Oh my gosh.
He was this close to a Jared Leto high five.
And then somebody,
and then some
a
drunk
random guy,
double fisting beers ran down the aisle to give Jared Leto a hug, and the security guy materialized out of thin air and blocked that guy's path, and Jared Leto went buzzing off a different direction with his very long hair.
So the challenges are not letting Josiah break what legs he has left coming off the trampoline, and then holding him down at a concert.
Yeah, so it was mostly, I guess,
mean, I can relate.
Again, it's just hard for me to kind of like frame life with you. I don't understand what it's like to not know what things to watch for, right? So it's like they don't necessarily seem like challenges when you just grow up with them. It's like the frog in the boiling water thing.
What is that?
Yeah, what is that?
Oh, okay. So there's
We're dumb on this podcast.
there's an urban legend that it's not actually true. So I should just
Thank you.
phrase it that way. But if you put a frog into boiling water, it'll jump out. But if you put the frog in water and then slowly increase the heat, it'll die of the boil. And that's not actually true. It'll start to jump out when it gets uncomfortable, but it's supposed to be like it's an allegory for slowly increasing pressure on something until it breaks and dies. So.
Well, have you guys ever like faced any challenges like where you guys are hitting the town and like someone has come up and like been rude to him? Because I know Josiah and I have been in that situation together.
Okay, so yeah, we've been to restaurants where they will come over and be really condescending. I shouldn't say a little. It's really condescending to ask if you can put your hands on someone and pray for them out of their wheelchair, which is it's really tough to watch. One other thing, going to order food with him, and they ask me or his mom instead of him.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yes, happens to us.
I've almost gone off on a couple people for that, but
that happens to us all the time.
Yeah. So if you're talking challenges with other people, yeah, there's a lot of challenges with the other people around me because again, I just don't get why you have to talk to me.
Yeah, and that's not an issue with me. That's an issue with the people around us.
Right. Yeah. So it's not necessarily a challenge in a vacuum of me and you. It's a challenge of like other people around us.
Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't have RBF and people will talk to you.
Do I have RBF?
No.
No, you don't. I'm kidding.
We'll wheel up to a counter and you'll be like, hey, how's it going? And I have the RBF and they're still talking to me first. It's wild to me.
You do have mad RBF.
Odd tangent, but I always thought I was smiling.
You did?
I did. I didn't realize that I seemed so unapproachable. I always thought I was smiling, and I have found recently that I'm not.
It's fine.
Well,
maybe like
fine.
that.
Yeah, off challenge. Finding a first floor apartment was a big one, or something with a working elevator. But you had just come out of a space that the elevator was quote unquote working. The percentage of time that it was working was about 40. If not less.
Wow.
So finding a place that was on the first floor was kind of our first challenge renting. Other than that, breakage, your wheelchair is not as nimble as feet. The wheels tend to catch on things and you're a little bit wider wheeling through a doorway. Oh, that was another thing when searching for an apartment. We had to find a place that could fit your wheelchair. Do you remember that one apartment where his wheelchair got stuck in the hall on the way down to the bathroom and to the bedroom? So anytime he would have wanted to go to the bathroom or to bed, he would have had to shove his wheelchair into the wall
out anyway.
and then jump out anyway, which is not ideal. So having enough space. Oh yeah, and furniture. That's the other thing. When living with you, you can't decorate in a way that precludes movement of your wheelchair to any one area. So our living room can't have an ottoman really because it's in your way of moving from the living room to any other room.
Where did we have all our dishes and stuff?
You had all your dishes in one cabinet on the bottom left, and most of the food too. Yeah, we had to keep any shared items of food down low. And the microwave. That was the other thing, was our microwave was up high. That was a pain for you.
Yeah, because I used it a lot more than you did.
So you're telling me, Josiah, if we ever live together and I buy food that I don't want you to eat, just put it really, really high.
Put it really high.
That's the strat.
Okay.
That's what I used to do.
Got it.
That's what
If I bought
used
Oreos
to do.
and he would start stealing them just to save the rest of the pack, I put them way up high. Although if it's a Dr. Pepper, he will climb up the cabinet.
He'll hulk up
It's
the
gone.
cabinets.
It's gone.
It's gone.
I love Dr. Pepper. How do you think your perspective has changed or is different than someone like Kelly or your podcast host, Brendan?
I think that my perspective is only different in that I have probably the most experience with a person in the wheelchair than most other people, being that I've, known you since I was 5. 18 years now that we've been friends. And so...
Friends? Just friends?
I knew you were going to do that when I said the word friend.
Yeah. Choice of words here. Be very, very
No,
cautious. Just kidding.
Best friends.
Okay, yes, but I'm just saying I don't have to clarify.
You do,
the
though.
word. But my point is that friends is just as much of a true statement as best friends.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Anyway, it's been 18 years.
Hold on. You let him get away with so much more than me. We would still be going on and on and on and on. Whoa.
It's because he knows I'm right.
I know. Because he will.
I have been right for 18 years of his life.
No. You can just out-argue me.
That's fair.
I think I've been right for 18 years of your life.
I don't
Let's
think so.
Put it in the record.
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah. So I am the frog in the boiling water. I didn't notice. Like you were mentioning, Kelly, on one of your episodes that you have to watch for exits. I don't really do that, really, because I don't think necessarily about it. I think it's just part of growing up with you that I just recognize things without noticing that I've recognized them. I recognize that I do it inherently, but I've never consciously had the thought. So it's part of routine, and I'm blanking on the word.
It's second nature.
Yeah, it's second nature, and it's reflex. That's the word that I was looking for. It's reflex at this point, and just kind of part of my brain's functioning that when you're around, certain different things have to happen. I have to start looking for ramps. I have to start saving seats. I have to start thinking
Do you
about
have
things
to
like
save
that.
seats?
Well, I have to save a space for your seat.
Josiah
Yes, you
shaking
do.
his head.
Yes, you do.
You know, when you nod like that,
I know.
they can't hear it.
It's
so
just
they
like
don't
awkward
get your,
silence.
I do
they
so
don't
many
get your
things.
affirmation.
I do so many things that people don't see, and I go every podcast episode, and I'm doing it now.
You did it again.
I know.
We were just talking about how you shouldn't do that.
I know.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
bad.
I'm
I'm
so
a
sorry,
bad
Kelly.
podcaster.
Yeah. What'd you say?
I said, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. He actually makes me look good.
It is
so
what it is.
it's
Yeah,
fine.
because I suck. And
You do not suck.
I don't suck. You can cut this if you want to.
I'm not
but it's
cutting
funny.
it. I'm not cutting
Josiah,
it.
you suck.
I know.
If
You
you're
don't
going
have
to
to
cut
tell
any of
me.
it, you leave that in.
Okay, I will.
That'll be at the end.
That's
of our
actually going to be
episode.
our new intro. Just Josiah.
You suck.
Just some random kid's voice.
They'll know who you are at the end of this episode.
If they listen to this episode.
They will.
They will.
Okay, but I'm saying if you pick up new listeners after this episode and they don't binge watch everything before, they're
You're
not going to know
famous.
who I am.
You are famous, though. You are on another podcast.
That is true. I don't know if I'd call that famous, but
You're famous.
You're famous.
I don't know if I am.
How many TikTok followers do you have?
I don't
7
know.
billion. 7 billion?
Dang.
The entire population
Everybody on Earth.
of the Earth. Yeah, right.
What is one of your guys' favorite memory together?
Lincoln Park.
That was going to be
That's-
mine. You stole it.
You guys are allowed to have the same one. It's fine.
We are allowed to have the same one.
What did you? No, I'm talking. Like, was it your favorite memory because of Lincoln Park, or is it because of their relationship?
I think it was both. Like, I was going to our favorite band with my best friend.
Right.
Like, that's awesome. At Fiddler's Green, we got to skip the line. We were with somebody else who was also enjoying themselves because we were, I think.
He loved
And I
that.
think it was just so awesome. And we got merch. We did the whole 9, basically.
Yeah, it was one of the first concerts I ever went to, so that was really good. I went to Imagine Dragons before that, but I think
Foo Fighters, I think.
not before that.
Okay.
I went to Foo Fighters after that. But yeah, probably Linkin Park. That's probably one of my, in terms of singular moment memories, that's probably one of them. Just because, yeah, it is I have one of their album covers tattooed on my arm. That's how much I love them. And then, yeah, my best friend and our third compatriot it was a lot of fun.
Who is also a really good friend.
And yeah, and it was shortly before Chester passed away. So it's got a shining memory in there for me. But it was also just a really good show. Royal Blood. 30
AFI.
Seconds. Oh, it wasn't Royal Blood. I'm sorry.
It was
Royal Blood
AFI.
was different.
Hey,
it was AFI.
miss. Are we going to get copyright strike?
No, it's cool. We already sang Story of the Year
I
like
know we
400
did.
times. It's fine.
Yeah. AFI, 30 Seconds to Mars, and Linkin Park. And
Dude,
yeah,
that sounds like a really good show.
Yeah. And the other part was we made a bet before the show, and we each made a playlist of what we thought the set list was going to look like. It really is. We made a playlist of the set list beforehand, and I was more right, so I won the bet.
That's not nerdy. I've done that with Thrice multiple times.
Right.
It's fair.
And when you're a true fan, you realize it because you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've been wrong lately.
And
No,
but they had just
Josiah
released
thought-
a hunting party.
Right. Josiah thought it was going to be a solely hunting party tour and that he was going to just play, they were going to play every track off the hunting party and a few of the hits, and it was going to be done. No, they played like a show. They played every album. There was
And they only
2 or
played
3
like
songs.
2 from the hunting party.
And that's the way I would rather it be.
Hunting party
I would
is
way
a
rather.
jam.
Hunting party's great, but I would way rather hear everything than one thing.
That's
would
true.
way rather hear like a shotgun blast of an artist's discography than just the hunting party.
So have you guys ever gotten in a fight? I want to hear it. I want to hear about some dirty details about being in fights.
I would say.
Okay, so
have we
are you
been
talking?
have we been in 3?
Are you talking physical fights, or are you talking like?
Ooh, I didn't even think about that.
emotional
Have you
fights?
been in physical fights?
Oh yeah, multiple times.
Oh really?
I count
Oh, yeah.
3.
Okay, so I was a pubescent teenager, and he was a pubescent young adult. we're both really hormonal dudes rolling around together all the time. So my mom lived on the same property as his mom for a period of time. And so we were with each other all the time. It was bound to end up in some fights. You won one, I won the next one, and then we decided to stop in the middle of the third one.
Henry, this is the thing. I said let's stop because you were going to win. You were winning.
Yeah.
And I was like, we have to keep a perfect record of 1-1. We count that as one.
I don't think you were thinking that clearly about it because we were in an actual
I'm going to
fight.
get my ass kicked.
Yeah. I think you were in survivalist mode. But
yeah,
they were all just like some random thing, like the slap at the airport kind of thing. Like one of us would accidentally just set the other one off. And then it was off to the races. I ended up in a chokehold with the one that I lost. We went to submission.
You ended up on top of me one time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't like to be slapped. That's the issue.
Did you break his legs? Is that how he got in a wheelchair?
Yeah.
Nice.
I put him there, guys. It wasn't CP. We've been lying all this time.
Oh, dang. Now the truth comes out.
The truth is out. It was Henry.
It was me all along.
So tell me about emotional fights. These are the worst with Josiah.
Yes.
These are the ones I tend to win.
Josiah feels things very okay.
Would you agree?
No.
Yeah.
You had an emotional fight with me about the air conditioning at 2 a.m. I'm not going to say you won that.
But okay, I concede that one. You won that one.
I don't think you tend to
on
win
the majority of time. Yeah, I would say so. Even you would say so, Kelly.
I don't know. We always apologize and cry.
Yeah, we apologize to each other.
Yeah.
Henry, here's the thing about Henry, and I hope you don't
have to
mind.
soften the statement.
I
Just
hope
say
you don't mind. But you don't like to apologize.
No, I'm very hard-headed. That is true. I will fully admit that.
And that hurts me. That hurts my feelings.
Right. And it hurts it further when I've already hurt your feelings and I refuse to apologize till like 3 hours later. So yeah, we've been in a few fights, but that's bound to happen. We lived together for 2 years. And before that, we lived really close to each other and spent a lot of time together. I don't think it's possible to not fight at that level of closeness.
Did you ever feel bad for beating me up?
Not until just now when you ask.
And the eyebrows, the raised eyebrows.
No, I'm kidding. You don't have to feel bad.
No, I don't.
Henry, I had it coming.
I was going to say that, for your audience, but not really feel it.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad.
Like
you
when
beat
you
me up just as many times before I was able to beat you up. So
when you slapped me out of my wheelchair, I was like, I deserve that. And I told you that in the car. I was like, I deserve that.
It took like half an hour and some Wendy's, but yeah. We almost
Apologies. Andrew is playing with his toys again.
I can wait.
No, we love it. We absolutely love Andrew.
A nice background noise.
His second special guest is Andrew the dog.
It's your SFX. We always resolve it because I think that's just an important part of fighting is resolving the issue in a kind and respectful manner. Way more kind than the fight. But, we got into it a few times.
So when you guys all hang out as a family, because you have a pretty big family, do you guys kind of cling to each other? Or
most of the time. Josiah is far more social than I am. He's far more engaged with the crowd. I tend to sit in a corner and watch the whole thing kind of unfurl. And so we tend to have a quiet corner of, me, one or two of my siblings, my dad, and then Josiah will come flick in and out. And then my wife obviously comes and sits with me pretty much the whole time. Mm-hmm. We tend to hang out together, especially during Christmas. We do we sit together for most of the time and just
we are
guess
often put
people
at the same table. So.
Oh, yeah.
The kids table?
Mm-hmm.
The immature kids table?
Yeah, growing up we were. Mm-hmm. His mom would relegate him next to me so that I could handle him instead of her having to deal with him.
I don't think your mom or my mom certainly was annoyed with us for a majority of the time, I would say. And I don't think that's a bad thing to say. But
we are obnoxious.
Yeah, we are.
Especially when we were teenagers. Because we're such old friends that I'll say a word and you'll start laughing at that word because we both understand what the other person means. And then I'll start laughing at you laughing. And so it ends up really obnoxious for anyone who doesn't get it. It's
a cycle. I get it.
Yeah, it's super annoying for people to deal with. But yeah, so your mom would kick us out of the house. And I think my mom would just leave.
Yeah.
Instead of kicking us out, my mom would just go out into her own space.
Yeah, she's like, bye. I don't have time for this.
She's like, well, they're just doing their thing. Whatever, I'll just go somewhere else.
But I think she was less annoyed than my mom.
Yeah, for sure.
So I have a question, Henry. How do you deal with Josiah, how he gets emotional about his CP in his wheelchair? How do you help him through that?
That's always a tough thing because it's not something that anyone can really control. I can't control those times that he does feel down on himself for not, like you were mentioning in your camping story, that he felt really down about not being able to help camping. He gets really down on himself about not being able to do some things to assist in other people. He doesn't necessarily get down about not being able to do a thing for himself, but for the other people around him.
Or asking for help. He doesn't really like to do that.
He abhors, I would say, asking for help to an almost unhealthy degree in some cases.
That's fair. That's fair.
No, so I think, my approach was always waking him up to the rationality of the fact that it's not his fault, that he can't control what he can do, right? It's not, he didn't choose to have CP. He didn't choose to not be able to help set up a tent or something to that effect. And so, waking him up to that rationality was kind of the feather in my cap that I used to just pull out all the time and try and do. And when that doesn't work, it's helpful to be heard. So letting him vent it out typically helps.
Because I think one time I was like, I'm sorry we had to get a first floor apartment. And you were like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I do remember that. And I'm like, it does not bother me in the slightest. And that's another thing, is just kind of telling you, like, dude, you're worried about this way more than I ever thought about it.
Yeah, Josiah's a very big overthinker.
Which is why I think you're an ENFP, not an INFJ. But that's okay.
We're going to have to take that test on the podcast live.
Do it.
Yeah.
You can come do it on ours.
We'll have to.
Because we did an episode doing ours. So
really?
Yeah, just come on and do it with
Interesting. Josiah, what's your favorite thing about having Henry as a very close bestie?
I think, okay, this is going to sound really cheesy, but Henry was the first person to just, I think, see me as a regular human and was like, yeah, we can go on the trampoline for hours. We can go eat 32 tacos together.
Oh, yeah.
32 tacos.
We housed it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We cooked 2 pounds of ground beef, put some taco seasoning in there, and then just went to town. We ate past the lettuce and tomatoes. We finished that was...
I'm surprised that wasn't your favorite memory.
Yeah, I was the 24 and you were the 12, so it was 36.
Yeah. It was 36.
Yeah. It was a full pack and a half of hard shell tacos.
But yeah, it's gonna sound really cheesy, but Henry wanted to be around me, and I felt that, and it was like, this is nice. This is and Henry wanted to hang out, and he would come to the trampoline or come to my room or whatever, and be like, what are you doing? All of that stuff. So it was just nice.
Yeah, me and my cousins would come up to your mom's house. And there would be a group that would go with one of your brothers. And there'd be a group, mainly me at first, until, one of my siblings, 1 or 2 or 3. Yeah, my siblings started.
I would say, 3.
Yeah, you kind of got us all. There'd be a group of us that would go with you because we just liked the same things. There was a group people that wanted to build forts in the trees, and then people that wanted to be on the trampoline. And we just kind of found that line.
So I think that's my favorite part.
Henry, what's your favorite thing about being bestie with Josiah?
Oh, wow. Just having another person in your life that knows you as well as you, or maybe even more than you know yourself. I have my wife and she's great at that, but Josiah has been there a long time as well, and he really kind of can hone in on me. He's skilled at it with other people as well, but we have 18 years of experience, and then knowing that you're always going to have a friend in someone is a really comforting fact.
I have one more question for the both of you.
Okay.
Josiah, what do you want the most for Henry in his short lifetime here? Well, hopefully not short.
My short lifetime.
Hopefully it's not short.
I'm not dying.
Life goes fast. That's kind of what I meant. What do you hope for Henry?
I want Henry to be the best version of himself that he can be. Honestly, I know it sounds cheesy, but I know what you want to do and the steps you're taking to get there and everything like that. And I just hope that comes to fruition for you. That's hard to put in words, but that's kind of what I want.
It's hard to distill that into a sentence, but yeah, I think that it's the same for me.
I do think you're taking steps towards that. We're not going to get into specifics, but I think you are taking steps towards that, and that makes me very happy for you and proud of you.
Thanks, man.
As your uncle / best friend / friend /
roommate.
I used to have a recipe for how I would introduce you. I can't remember it at the time, but yeah, it'd be a whole list of things. But yeah, and especially when I added roommate to the list, that was interesting. But yeah, I think the same for him. I think that's true of any best friend. You want to see them become the best version of themselves. I don't think you ever want to watch your best friend waste and squander potential. I think if you do, you're kind of a sadist, but that's a different topic for another time. If you want to watch your best friend become the worst version of themselves, get help.
Yes.
Stop it.
Stop that right now. We don't like that. We don't condone that.
Time to get your mind right.
So before the last thing, Henry, plug your podcast.
Oh,
fam.
I get the red carpet now?
Yeah,
Okay.
where
man,
can we find you?
You can find me at the Henry and Brendan Show anywhere you listen to podcasts, primarily, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Overcast if you're into it. And we have a YouTube channel where we post all of our podcasts. We do a video podcast. There's a couple YouTube exclusive videos on there. Brendan's my podcast co-host. We talk about pretty much everything. We tend to talk about philosophy because we're just an echo chamber. We're both the same personality type, and we tend to talk about the same philosophical topics a lot. We also talk about why self-help books are cringe. So
Yep.
go check out that podcast anywhere you listen.
When are your episodes? When are they released?
They are released on Mondays. You can listen to the Roller and the Stroller, and then 3 days later, you can listen to the Henry and Brendan Show.
Ooh, start out your week great and end your week great.
Exactly.
Boom.
Start
They
out
have
with
a
some
really
philosophy.
interesting episode on Is God Real?
Oh yeah, that's
the one.
That's our most listened to episode.
That's the one that I'm going to plug. Do you want to plug another one?
Do I want to plug another one? Anything but our first one because it's atrocious.
Same. Retweet.
Yeah. Objectivity is one of my favorite, and then the one where we take the Myers-Briggs test.
Nice.
That's one of my favorite ones.
Thank you so much, Henry, for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. And thank you for giving us the inside deets on Josiah's childhood.
Absolutely. It's been my pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
I love you.
We love Henry. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening.
I'm Josiah. I've been your resident roller.
And I am Kelly, and I am your stroller.
Boom!
God, you're yelling, dude.
Thank you for listening to the Roller and the Stroller podcast. We're rolling out.
This is a Sidewall Studios production.
Boom!
Oh, we should keep that moving.